Have you ever found yourself sitting around reading a magazine article about the making of a classic hit, wishing you could have been the one in the pilot's chair when it was recorded or mixed? Now you can! Can!
Here we stand, worlds apart, hearts broken into two. Sleepless nights, losing ground. I'm reaching for you. Feel that it's good. You change your mind. If we can go well, survive the time, love divine. Someday love will find you. Break those chains that bind you. One night will remind you how we touched and ran our separate ways. If he ever hurts you, true love won't desert you. You know I still love you. How we touched and ran our separate ways. Troubled times, caught between confusion and pain. Distant eyes, promises we made were in vain, in vain. If you must go, I wish you love. You'll never walk alone. Take care, my love. Wish you love. Someday love will find you. Break those
What's up? What's up, guys? So I'm excited to be here today because this is something I've really been looking forward to. We started talking to the guys from Resurrection probably a couple months ago, honestly, about coming into the studio and letting us film, letting us capture what they do, so me, as well as you guys, can have access to these great multi tracks of some of these Journey hits. I mean, who everybody loves Journey. Everybody loves Journey, right? Steve Perry's one of the greatest singers of all time. The songs, the arrangements, it's just such a just part of rock and roll and pop music history. So anyway, I'm really excited and very thankful to the guys from Resurrection. They came out on their vacation. They were off the road for 2 weeks here in Nashville, and they came out and spent some of their vacation time coming into the studio, playing this stuff for free, just to provide educational content to you guys. So anyway, show them some love online, if you will. Go follow them on their social medias. If they come to your area, Resurrection, a Journey tribute. Give them a lot of love and respect. Buy tickets to their shows, buy merch, whatever the case may be. Really great guys. Okay, so let's talk about the sound of the original. Um, I listened to the original this morning before I started this mix. And because I've heard it a million times, like you guys have too, but I haven't heard it in a discerning way. I haven't listened on my studio monitors, for example, and really thought about the mix. It's just always in the background on a Bluetooth speaker while I'm washing my car, or maybe while I'm driving, but I'm talking to somebody else in the back, speakers of a restaurant over my head. So these songs are part of my normal weekly, monthly thing, but not in a discerning way, if that makes sense. And I was shocked when I went back and listened to it. And I know this was a little earlier than some of the more slick produced Journey songs that came a little after this, but the mix is, by today's standards, isn't all that hard hitting. It isn't all that punchy. It's just not what that was. So, for the purpose of this video, I wanted to do a mix that was kind of somewhere in the middle. I wanted to be respectful of the original and kind of place my levels around the same, but I wanted to make it a little bit bigger and better as well, just because technology allows us to. I'm definitely going to have more low end than the original. The original was pretty lean down there. So my kick is a little up and my bass is a little up compared to the original, although they're not going to be overwhelming. But for today, I want to walk you through the mix that I did. But remember, in the link below, you can grab these multi-tracks and mix them the way that you want to. So add drum samples and make it a metal arrangement. Make it anything you guys want to make it. Have a blast, and I'm really excited to give you these multi-tracks. But let's just talk about what I did. Of course, so when you think of these Journey records, there's you think of Steve Perry's vocal, of course. You think of Neil's guitar playing. You think of Steve Smith's drums. I mean, everybody was important and prominent. But this song in particular, one of my favorite, maybe it's because I'm a drummer, but one of my big signature moments is the coming out of the guitar solo, how they get back into the last chorus, the iconic Tom thing. Wow. I mean, that's just iconic. And gosh, they played this stuff so well. They do such a great job. What I want to talk about, and for the tools today, Resurrection is the star talent wise, but tool wise, IK Multimedia will be our star today, and for good reason. They have a great plugin bundle. There's a lot of companies out there nowadays making plugins, and a lot of them just make a few, and they're great. I have a lot of those in my collection, but there's a handful of companies that make really expansive libraries of plugins, and they make them well, that cover a lot of our classics. As we can see here, we got the SSL channel strip. I have Pultex. I have distressors. What else do I have? I have Neve style compression. I have 1176s. So I think I use some Fairchilds as well. So very large, expansive bundles. But there's a reason why specifically I chose IK Multimedia for this plugin, and I'll get to those two plugin choices as we go. Okay, but let me do this. Let me take these channels and turn the plugins off, and let's turn the reverb off too. Okay. And let's turn the parallel compression off. So great captures. Then I added the SSL thing, as you can see, pretty much across the board. Very similar. They change a little bit from drum to drum. but somewhere between 5 and 700 cycles, 500 and 700. I'm going to remove a little bit of what I call head flap, some just unattractive tone that's in the drum itself to leave more of the attack and the bottom end that I love exposed. I'll get rid of that. And I'm adding some attack up here at around, it looks like around, oh, right here. It looks like between 4 and 5K, and then I'm adding some 10K as well. So one more time, let's listen to that drum fill without the SSL. Then I add the SSL. Whole nother level of punch and clarity and focus. And then I'm bringing in their compressor, which is a distortion, or I'm sorry, a distressor imitation. So let me do this one more time. Bring these in. So you can see the settings here. I have the attack on the slow side, so it's allowing the initial stick strike of the drum to come through before it clamps down. You can see it's not all that aggressive. 3 to 1, just a few dB. Yeah, it looks like around 3 dB of compression, but enough to make it more punchy. And so then another part of the sound to me of the toms is the fact that they are in the overheads in the rooms. And because of in our my tracking room, um, I have I just have one of the best sound. I hate to brag because it's not. I don't own the I don't own the building. I just rent it. But our tracking room is so good sounding for drums. 24-foot ceilings, and this is what the toms sound like in the room by themselves, unaffected. Although I did have a little bit of an 1178 compression going on during the day of the tracking. Okay, so I'm running that through some SSL only to clear up a little bit of low mid, and you'll see it's not going to be massively different, but I'm feeding it into a compressor that really hypes that frequency by the time it's all squished down. So I actually applied this compression after, or I'm sorry, this EQ after I heard the compression. So just a little bit cleaner there, and this is what was bringing the tail up, or that frequency, kind of making it really pop. Pretty aggressive here, faster attack because I am wanting to alter the transient, so the attack is faster, still a even yet faster release, and that way the compression gets out of the way and brings up the apparent sustain and size and length of the room. A little more aggressive on the amount of compression as well as the ratio. So now let's put the toms, let's hear the toms dry by themselves, close mic'd. I mean, that's great, that's thunderous, but we put that room in there with it, and it sounds like a Journey record. One thing I know from listening to Journey is that, especially in the earlier records before they got a little slicker in the late 80s, was the ambient room sound that Steve Smith played in was always used. I don't know who produced or engineered those records, but they used those room sounds, and that it's you pull up some of those old ones like Stone in Love and things like that. The drum room sound is very, very prominent. So this is a way of getting that. Now, one of the reasons I chose IK Multimedia for this demonstration today was they have a plugin that I've really grown fond of, and it is right here. So I've had T-Rex 5 for quite a while, and I had been using, for this purpose, I had been using Sunset Sound room simulations. But what I like to do, sometimes you get a bad drum sound or a bad drum room sound. Things are way out of balance. It's all cymbals. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this? But or sometimes you don't get any room sound at all because it's recorded in a very, very, very small booth. But when you hear the production, you know that I need that to be in a space, but not the kind of a space that a digital reverb will do. And that's where these room simulators like IK has with Fame, Sunset, and the Farm Stone Room here can do so well. So what I'll do is I'm going to mute the direct drum sound, and what you'll see is the way that I use this is it's set up on an aux send just the way I would a reverb, but that aux send hits this, and I actually keep it with my drum tracks because I think of it as the drum room. It's not a reverb that's down in my reverb returns. It to me it even it becomes the room that they're in. But check this out. So here's the blend that I have going to. So that's the levels that's hitting this send. And now here's what it sounds like afterwards. And if I don't like that, once it fits the mix, because they're on aux sends, I can just adjust it. If I want less kick, less overhead, more toms, less toms, I can adjust it. And you can change the length of the room here, or the size of the room, so many things. So right here is a direct, if you're going to use it directly on a source, but I use mine as a send return. So I'm going to mute the direct, and I have a stereo room option as well as a mono crush, and you can compress them. This one has like a simulation of an SSL stereo compressor. This one has a simulation of the Listen mic compressor that became real famous with Hugh Padgham, Peter Gabriel, and Phil Collins. So you can kind of create that kind of thing. But I kind of like blending the mono and the stereo. But what I like to do, and I know a lot of you do this too, you have your favorite room compressors. So you can follow that with if you don't want to use the built-in compressors, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But a lot of us like Fairchilds. Some of us love Neve 33609s. Some of us loves SSL channel strip type compressors. There's a lot of great tools out there, and we all have our favorites. So I simply follow that plugin with my favorite room compressor and just blend that into taste, and it creates a drum room that the set didn't have, or I got it but it was flawed. All right, so that's reason number one why I chose IK Multimedia for that, because this ever since I upgraded to T-Rack 6 a few weeks ago, that quickly became a favorite. All right, so let's talk about a couple other things, because as you know, you can mix these drums however you wish when you get the multi-tracks. And let's turn the reverb back on. Speaking of reverb, what I did, let's just listen. Because IK does have an expansive library of plugins, I chose their classic room simulator, and it's about a second and a half. And so I thought it sounded great. I thought it sounded a lot like a Journey record, for lack of better terms. And you'll see that I have some parallel compression going on, also with the distressor style, but mostly on the live drums. You'll see you'll get a couple kicks with the multi-track set. It's SSLs into Pultecs. In fact, let's just go up here to the top. Kick number one, and that was an Audix D6 inside the drum. That's with and without the SSL treatment. But then I wanted even more size, so I added this. Now you think, well, it didn't get much bigger. You have your knobs zeroed out. I wanted to pass through this circuit because I think it does. I don't think. I hear it does a little thing even with the knobs down, because it's emulating the circuit. But on this other bass drum that you're going to get, which is the kind of halfway out mic, it's I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a drum walkthrough about how we recorded these drums, and we'll use a different Journey track. So never fear, you're going to get a second Journey classic to download in a few weeks. So here's the other drum. And that's a B52. And this, I use a substantial amount of attack and size. Here's the two together. So this one has more of the basketball sound, but it also has, because it's inside the shell, it's the one they tour with, it has a lot more attack than this other guy does. So I'm just blending the two together. All right, now let's talk about the bass guitar briefly, because you don't want to be the bass guitar player in Journey because everyone else is such a superstar. But what I did is I had the Pultec style, getting some, a good amount of bottom end as well as some presence right here. I'll show you. So to me, this is a great sounding plug-in. Does the thing. And then a 33609 Neve is, well, that's Bob Clearmountain's favorite bass compressor, so that says a whole lot. They have a grab, a diode bridge just grabs. And bass is one of the things they work on. So I've got a 3-to-1 ratio, 100 millisecond recovery, and you'll just kind of see what it does. So that grab causes the initial string attack to kind of pop a little bit, and then it clamps down and tightens the tone. One more time. So you can see why people like Bob Clearmountain love and choose that on basses. Let's talk about the guitar. The electric guitar, I have an API style. And he record. Okay, so they play this stuff on stage live well, maybe not every night, but a lot every week. So their sounds are kind of already dialed in for the venue. And so it's got quite a bit of reverb on it. So when you get these multi-tracks, just know that there's already a lot of effects on it. But what I did is try to create some clarity by adding some upper mid presence as well as some highs and reducing just a tiny bit of mud. So it's a pretty significant impact in the mix. I'll play it for you. Play that scene right there. Everybody loves that part.
Troubled times, caught between
And then to add even more pop, I wanted to run it through an 1176 because I've heard not heard great things. Well, of course I've heard great things, but this particular version of the 76 plugin, I know there's a bunch of 76s out there, but this one is a little over the top compared to some. It definitely has a pop and it has a grit, which is exactly what I wanted. So here's before and after. This is just barely moving the needle, but that's exactly what I was looking for. On the keys, it's just really, standard issue stuff. Some API, just clearing some space a little bit and adding some presence. Because again, the key sounds are things that he's really worked on to sound like the record. So when you get these, they're already going to have some effects built into them. So all I needed to do was a tiny bit of work to make it fit the mix a little bit better. I followed that for fun with the Neve 33609. I just feel like it made the attack. It made the attack, kind of pop. All right, so let's see. What else do we have? Oh, gosh. Let's just get right into it. Let's get into the vocals. So how can you talk about Journey without talking about the lead singer, Steve Perry? The answer is you can't. I mean, it all goes hand in hand. So let's listen to Brian Cole here. He does a great job of imitating. I don't think he imitates. I just think he grew up listening to Steve Perry, and that's the way he sings. So let's check it out.
feel that it's God can change your mind.
I mean, he's killing it, man. All right, so the first thing is I did is I didn't think it needed any corrective EQ. I mean, he has a mic that he chose specifically for his voice. It's an ADK67. So in the video earlier when you saw that, that's what that mic is. It's an ADK67. He brought it just because he knows it matches, his voice and does what he wants it to do. But when I think of Steve Perry, I think of a lot of air. It feels like they used to really push the air on those records. And so here's what I got going on.
Feel that it's God can change your mind.
Now that's pushing into an SSL for a tiny, tiny bit of reduction.
Feel that it's God
And it's one of those things when I dropped it in the mix, I felt like, okay, I could notch just a little bit of that and be a little happier. Okay, next is to take care. Now, I did compress him with an LA2A from Audioscape on the way in. As you can see, it's compressed. But I'm looking for a little bit more modern rock sound than what they did back then. So I'm going to compress it a little harder. So my first step here is their take on a Fairchild, the 670 right here.
Feel that it's God can change your mind.
So now match the output. So it's pretty much, yeah, I'm getting the effect of the compression, but you're not really hearing the volume change, which is exactly what I wanted. All right, then that's going into an 1176 style.
Feel that it's God can change your mind.
Now that really does not only a volume, obviously you're getting a little more apparent volume, but you're getting a more consistent volume, and you'll see the attack and release settings that I chose here. Straight up 12, and then as fast as possible. Okay, now because of everything that I'm doing, it brings up sibilance, right? I mean, that's what heavy compression does. So I'm really impressed with this de-esser. I had never used this before I got the T-Rack 6, and quite like it, honestly. Let's check it out.
Someday love will find you.
Okay, with
Someday love will find you.
in the mix.
Someday love will find you. Bring those.
I think it's doing a great job. All right, so I'm doing a couple things. I have a little delay I'm adding with the tape echo here. Check it out.
Someday love will find you.
And that is also sending back to the reverb. So the reverb that I chose, when I think of those Journey records, I think of, Steve Perry generally had a really long, a lot of them anyway, there's very long reverb. And this one was no stranger to reverb on his vocal. And so what I chose was this right here, this Hall. This is the Classic Studio or Classic Hall.
Someday love will find you. Break those.
And I chose a preset specifically labeled for an organ because I was cycling through them, and a lot of them was just too big in the low end. And this one just kind of fit the mix, I thought. So check it out. Let's go to, how about verse 2?
Troubled times, caught between confusion and pain.
Now his lead vocal, as well as all of the other vocals, are being tied together with a group compressor, and that is the Neve 33609. They call it the precision limiter. This is in my normal everyday work. This is one of two choices that I use for compressing group vocals, is a diode bridge Neve. And you'll see it's pretty soft. It's 2-to-1 with the fastest release they have. But it's about the way that it grabs and contains. Check it out.
Feel that it's God.
I'll do it with and without.
Feel that it's God. Can change your mind.
Now check it out.
Feel that it's God. Can change your mind.
Can change your mind, especially you really hear the difference in the punch, the way it's controlling that punch. Okay. This whole mix is feeding into, you can see that I did a lot of the same stuff on the background vocals. As you'll get in the courses, you'll get this full package of 3-part harmony.
Someday love will find you. Bring the.
Okay. The whole mix is, of course, going to an SSL style bus compressor, 2-to-1 ratio, 30 millisecond attack, fastest release possible, 60 hertz on the side chain. And other than that, just a little makeup gain to kind of balance it back out. Now, remember I said there were 2 reasons I wanted to use IK Multimedia? The other night, I'm like a lot of you guys in the fact that I'm obsessed with this stuff, so I'll go on YouTube and watch videos, if I have an hour that I'm not actually working before bed, try to find out new tools. One that I saw a video for recently was this guy. And it knocked me out. So it's basically, it's a stereo bus. I mean, you could use it on anything, of course, but it's kind of the stereo bus mastering type of tool that is astonishingly good. In fact, what I'll do, let me bring it down here. And this is going to drop the level a lot, but I'm going to go to the factory default and turn the volume all the way down, and I'll just kind of make up for the level on the back end. But check out the mix without any business of one.
Someday love will find you. Break those chains that bind.
Okay, now this time I'm gonna play it, and you'll notice no air, no focus, no body. A little bit of bass punch comes up in the default. The transient is back to nothing, or no, no added or removed transient. Analog, a little bit of analog character. Width is not enhanced, and the volume is at 0, right? But a little bit of push. Check out this difference.
Someday love will find you. Break those chains that bind you. One night.
That's just the compression circuit right here. The size and the girth that I mean, this really has a character. It's pretty amazing to me what it's capable of. And you'll see on the record or on the mix that I performed, I'm kind of using this as my stereo bus EQ. I'm adding a little focus, which is in the upper mids, a little clarity for the vocal, a little body, a little air, and the bass punch. I left it at its default. A little stereo width and slight enhancement on the transients, and I think I left the analog where it was, but just check it out before and after. Of course, there's going to be a huge volume difference. I get it, but it's it's just astonishing what it can do to me.
Someday love will find you. Break those chains that
You know what we can do, gang? Let's do this. So I'm going to mute, or I'm going to zero out the air and the width, the transients, and the bass punch. And I'll let you hear the difference. Okay, so here's the one with just doing the volume, okay?
Someday love will find you. Break those chains that bind you.
So this time what I'll do is in the middle of that phrase, I'm going to engage the one with the extra business going on.
Someday love will find you. Break those chains that bind you. One night will.
I mean, it's just an extremely cool finishing tool that I'll just admit I had completely overlooked it. This has been in my locker for a couple years now with T-Rex 5, and I just used the tool that I always use, and this laid unnoticed. And now it's no longer unnoticed, and I hope that some of you guys dig it as well. If you already have T-Rex plugins, take this out and take a check, take a look at it. And if you don't, maybe do a demo if you're looking for a new finishing tool, because I think it's exceptionally good. So anyway, I want to thank Resurrection for coming out. Resurrection, a Journey tribute. Remember, look them up on social media. They came out on their vacation just to help you guys, give you multi-tracks that you're going to love to play along with. So it's really generous of them. So please be kind and courteous to them, and give them the love that they deserve. But thanks for watching. Download these multi-tracks below and have a great time, okay? And we'll come back with more details about how we recorded the drums in a few weeks with a different Journey smash from the past, and we'll have a great time then as well. All right, guys, have a great week and happy mixing.